Good morning. Thank you for joining me for some yoga today. I'm Caroline and I'm also known as the Yoga Crow. Today I'm going to be thinking about sun salutations, and I wanted just to practice some very simple sun salutations we can do easily at home at any time when we're feeling we need a little bit more support in the sun salutation. So less sort of dynamic and strong, but a little bit more supportive and gentle. So let's begin with coming to connect with our breath. You can sit cross-legged, kneeling, standing, sitting on a chair, whatever feels most supportive for you this morning. I've got a block here. I'm going to sit on a block just to allow my hips to be a little bit higher than my knees. So coming into a comfortable position for yourself, bringing your awareness to your body, maybe making a couple of shoulder rolls, finding that lovely length in the spine from the root all the way up to the crown of the head. And gently closing down the eyes. Making any small adjustments you feel you need to. Feeling that grounding through your sitting bones. That length through the lumbar spine, the lower back. A gentle drawing down shoulders, the shoulder blades. Gentle lift of the chest. Noticing almost immediately that space you've created for your breath, for the lungs. And then if you can today, breathing in and out through the nose. Closing our eyes enables us to bring our thoughts, our focus, our attention inwards. Starting to become aware of the breath, following the breath as you inhale and exhale. Notice the parts of the body the breath is reaching. As you breathe in, noticing the expansion of the lungs as the rib cage expands in all directions. Maybe you notice your diaphragm, the muscle under the rib cage. Gently lowering, pushing down to allow the lungs to expand. If your mind wanders, bringing your mind, your thoughts back to looking inwards. Sensations in the body, the flow of the breath. Gently tucking the chin, taking one breath here Opening the eyes if you have them closed. And gently bringing the head back up to center. We'll do a couple of movements here just to warm the body up before we come into some sun salutations. So breathing in, breathing out as you turn to look over your right shoulder. Taking 3 breaths here. And gently coming back to center. Breathing in, breathing out. And turning to look over your left shoulder. And coming back to center. We'll take our ears to our shoulders now. So breathing in, as we breathe out, taking our right ear towards our right shoulder. Gentle stretch, allowing the muscles to warm, to lengthen in their own time. Taking 3 breaths here. Still sitting tall, find that length through the spine. Coming back up to center and taking our left ear to our left shoulder. And coming back up to center one last time. We'll give the shoulders a little roll, maybe using the arms as well. Taking the shoulders up, back and down. Really wide, exaggerated circles. Bringing shoulder blades together and then almost pulling them apart. So you can come into almost a sort of hunch, rounded back position. It's going to increase the stretch across the shoulders, the trapezius muscles, back of the body. And then 5 in the other direction. And slowly coming back up to sitting, crossing the legs in a different way or changing the cross of the legs if you need to at this point, or changing your position. We're going to do some wrist rolls, very simple wrist rolls, waking up the wrists. And something I call my motorbike pose. We're taking fists. It's almost like we're trying to rev a motorbike. A little bit of a stretch and a slightly different stretch in the wrists and the forearms. You might find this runs all the way up to your shoulders. And then stretching the fingers out. It's 5 times, bringing some length, movement to the hands. Lovely. Coming off your block, if you've got support, moving a little here. We're going to come into our box position to begin with. The hands are flat on the floor, under the shoulders, fingers are spread. If the wrists are not happy, coming down onto the elbows, we're going to stretch the back of the legs out. So I'm extending my right foot, reaching through the heel. Have a softness in your elbows. Head, neck in line with the spine. Bringing a little bit of length to the back of the legs, the calf muscles. And then we'll move on to the left leg, reaching through the heel. And bringing that in. And we'll come into a very simple extended child's pose. Big toes are together, knees are wide apart. We're going to take our hands forwards in front of us. The middle fingers are pointing forwards. Palms, hands flat on the floor. Think about Hasta Bandha, that lovely hand lock. Dropping the shoulders away from the ears, the gaze is towards the floor. We're keeping the glutes in contact with the heels here, finding some length in the back. And maybe you'd like to stretch forwards a little bit more. Trying not to compromise that contact between the glutes and the heels. If you are able to come all the way to the floor, feel free to do so.
allowing the forehead to rest on the mat. If you can't quite get there and you've got a prop or a support close by, maybe popping that under the head.
And very gently padding the fingers back towards your body. We're going to come to standing now and come into very simple sun salutations. So we'll do 2 on each side, coming to one end of where you're working today and making sure you've got enough space to step back behind you. We're going to come into a Tadasana or a mountain pose. Feet are spread about hip distance apart, toes are pointing forwards. I'm lifting my toes up to really ground through those 4 points on my feet. So the base of the big toe, the base of the little toe, and the 2 corners of the heel. Stretching the toes all the way down, keeping that engagement through those 4 points, keeping the arch lifted if you can. Lifting up through the spine, allowing the shoulders to roll down. Maybe tucking the chin in a few centimeters, elongating the back of the neck. Taking a moment here to feel the strength in mountain pose. We're going to breathe in and reach up through the fingertips, breathing out, folding forwards, bending into the knees. If you have got blocks handy, you can maybe have your hands on the blocks, if that feels okay for you, or you can take opposite elbows. We're taking a couple of breaths here to begin with. Make sure you haven't rocked into the back of your heels, the front of your toes, the body weight's even over both feet. We're going to breathe in and bring our hands to our shins. So breathing in, bringing your hands to our shins, our gazes to the floor, flat back, shoulders away from ears. Just check your knees aren't collapsing in towards each other. And then allowing yourself to float forwards. On the next exhalation, we're going to step our right foot back. So stepping the right foot back as far as you can, and then dropping that knee. We've come into a runner's lunge position. Shoulders are away from ears. I'm just on my fingertips here. We're checking the left knee is directly above the left ankle. From here, I'm going to slowly bring my hands to our hips and find some balance there. So we want those hip bones to be roughly level. Breathing in, we're going to reach through the fingertips. And if your neck feels happy to do so, taking the gaze up to the sky. Breathing here. On the next exhalation, bringing the hands down, back towards the mat. We're going to step back into plank pose. So we're tucking our right toes under, bringing the left foot to almost meet the right, knowing that you can come onto your knees if you prefer to. Otherwise, the feet are about hip distance apart. My shoulders are away from my ears. My glutes are low, but not too low. It's not a back bend. I've grounded through my hands. My middle fingers are pointing forwards. Shoulders are drawing back. My inner elbows are pointing in towards each other. Belly button to spine. Engaging the abdominal muscles, protecting the lower back. From here, taking the knees down, coming all the way down to the floor. We're going to come into a gentle cobra here, making sure the hands are under the shoulders and they are still spread. The fingers are still spread. Elbows tucked right into the rib cage. Breathing in to slowly push up. Elbows are staying, hugging the rib cage. Gentle back bend. On the next exhalation, coming all the way back down. This is where we push back into our downward dog. So breathing in, taking the hands back a little and coming into downward facing dog. Taking your time to adjust here. Having a bend in the knees. Hands are still spread. Inner elbows are pointing in towards each other. Pushing into the hands, find that length in the back.
Shoulder blades drawing down the back, away from the ears. Sitting bones is reaching up for the ceiling. From here, we're going to bring the right foot forward. So you may want to lift it slightly, bend it, and swing it through. Take your time. It may take a couple of steps to bring it to the front of the mat, almost parallel with your hands. And then pushing through that right foot to bring the left parallel with the right, back into a forward fold. Have a bend in the knee, especially if the hamstrings are feeling tight. From here, we're going to push through into the feet. So bend into the knees a little bit more, power through the feet. We're going to breathe in, reaching up through the fingertips and breathing out. Bring the hands back down to the sides of the body. So we'll do that on the left-hand side as well. So just resetting here, toes are pointing forwards. Your feet are about hip distance apart. Lengthen the spine through the crown of the head. Thinking about that engagement through the feet, grounding through the feet. And almost imagining you're gripping something between your thighs. As soon as you do that, you'll feel little movement. Engagement within the inner thighs, maybe even the glutes. We're going to breathe in and reach up. Breathing out, folding forwards, leading with the heart. Uttanasana, forward fold. We're going to take a few breaths here. Take a moment to make sure the weight distribution is even over the feet. Sitting bones reaching up for the ceiling, keeping that bend in the knees, micro bend in the knees either way, but bending a little further if the back of the legs feel tight. Crown of the head is reaching towards the floor. We're going to breathe in, bring our hands to our shins, shoulders away from ears, flat back. Breathing out, folding forwards. From here, we're stepping our left foot back. So stepping the left foot back quite far, dropping the knees, taking a moment here in our runner's lunge, checking our right knee is directly above our right ankle. We're going to breathe in and reach up. Taking the gaze towards the sky if the neck is happy to do so. Otherwise, keeping the gaze directly ahead. Taking 5 breaths here. Gently bringing the hands back down to either side of the right foot and stepping back into our plank. Now you can come to your knees if you prefer to. Hands are under shoulders, fingers are spread. Inner elbows are pointing in towards each other, shoulders are away from ears. Find that length in the body, strength as well, belly button towards the spine. Remembering to breathe. Gently lowering yourself down to your knees, chest, chin. Hands are under shoulders, elbows tucked in, breathing in to come into a gentle cobra. Gently coming back down, pushing back into our downward facing dog. So taking a moment to reset. If you need to, hands are spread, shoulder width apart, inner elbows pointing in towards each other. Maybe there's a little bit more length in the legs now, you're able to straighten them, but still keeping a micro bend in the knee wherever you are. The toes are pointing towards the hands and they're hip distance. So static downward dog today, pushing into the hands a little bit more. Drawing the belly towards the spine, but also towards the thighs. So we're looking for length in the back. We're going to bring our left foot forwards. So lifting the left foot, bending the knee and swinging it through, taking your time to get there if you need to. And then we're going to power through that left foot to enable the right foot to join it parallel back into Uttanasana, our forward fold. From here, we're going to bend into the knees. We're going to power through the feet to reach up to the sky and gently bring the hands down towards the sides of the body. So we're going to do that once again on each side, on the right and the left. You can take it a little bit faster, a little bit slower. And just remembering to breathe. Don't worry too much. Ideally, you're breathing in and out continuously with each movement. We're holding some of those poses a little bit longer today, working through them. The main thing in these yoga is to make sure you're not holding your breath, you are breathing. So coming to one end of your mat, we're going to step back with our right foot now. So toes are pointing forward, feet are parallel, finding that length, that strength in Tadasana. Maybe lifting the toes, spreading the toes. Thinking about that grip of the inner thighs. Breathing in, reaching up, breathing out, folding forwards, leading from the heart. Forward, fold, Uttanasana. Inhaling, bringing the hands to the shins, shoulders away from the ears, flat back. And breathing out to fold forwards back into our Uttanasana. Breathing in to step the right foot back, dropping that knee. Slowly finding that balance, left knee above left ankle and reaching up. Holding it for 3 breaths. Reaching through the fingertips, only gazing to the sky if the neck is happy to do so. On the next exhalation, bring the hands back to the sides of the left foot. We're stepping back into our plank pose. So coming to the knees. If you would like to, inner elbows are pointing in towards each other. Shoulders are away from ears. Pulling in the belly button. Still breathing into the lungs, expanding the rib cage. Dropping the knees down, slowly coming down to the floor. We're going to breathe in and come into our Cobra Pose. Hands are spread, elbows tucked into the rib cage and slowly moving upwards. Drawing those shoulders down. Creating that lovely space in the chest for the breath. And exhaling to come back down. We're going to inhale into downward dog, so tucking the toes. Stretching back, keeping that micro bend in the knees. The heels are drawing down towards the floor. They may not get there. And that's not the primary aim of downward dog. We're looking for length in the spine. Finding length in the spine, making sure the shoulders, shoulder blades are still drawing down the back. Lifting the right leg up. Maybe you lift it a little bit higher this time. Come into 3-legged dog, keeping the hips, the pelvis level. Bending the knees as you bring it forwards. Powering through the right foot. So the left is parallel with the right. Forward fold. And then powering through the feet to reach up. And breathing out to bring the hands back down to the sides of the body. One more time, we'll do this on the left-hand side. Coming back into your mountain pose, resetting if you need to, spreading the toes, finding length in the spine through to the crown of the head. Breathing in, reaching up. Breathing out, folding forwards, leading with the chest. Breathing in, hands to shins, shoulders away from ears, flat back. And breathing out, we're folding forwards back into Uttanasana. This time the left foot's going back, so taking the left foot back, dropping the knee. We're going to breathe in and reach up to the sky, taking the gaze there if your neck is happy to do so. Taking 3 breaths here. Breathing out, bringing the hands either side of the right foot, stepping back into your plank. Hands are spread, inner elbows pointing in towards each other, shoulders away from ears. Dropping the knees, slowly coming down to the floor, hands are under the shoulders, gentle cobra, elbows are tucked in. Gently coming down, we're going to breathe in to come back into our downward facing dog. Finding that length in the spine, keeping a bend in the knees if you need to, pushing into the hands. So we're bringing the belly, the chest towards the knees. Sitting bones reaching up for the ceiling. here, we're going to reach through the left leg. So maybe you lift it a little bit further this time. Three-legged dog, keeping the hips and the pelvis level. Swinging it forwards by bending the knee and planting the foot down in between the hands. We're going to power through that left foot to bring the right parallel with the left back into our forward fold, or Uttanasana. Powering up through the feet, bend into the knees, breathe in to reach up, and breathing out to bring the hands down back the sides of the body. Taking a moment there in your mountain pose, lifting the toes, spreading the toes out. And I'll invite you to close your eyes once more, bringing one hand to the belly, one hand to heart center. Still lengthening through the spine. Shoulders are soft. Keeping the inner thighs working, we're still feeling strong in our Tadasana pose. Connecting with the breath. Allowing it to lengthen, maybe slow a little after the sun salutations. And gently bringing the hands back down to the sides of the body. And bring the hands back together to heart center. Knowing this is your time to continue your practice, maybe come into Shavasana for relaxation, or finish noticing the warmth, the energy you've created through the hands, joining the hands together, joining both halves of the body together. Taking a moment to thank yourself for making the time to practice. I'm going to take my hands to my foreheads to remind us all to have kind thoughts, to my lips to remind us all to have kind words, and back down to my heart center to remind us all to have kind actions. Namaste. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed those sun salutations and they've brought some warmth, heat, energy to your body. I'm Caroline. I look forward to seeing you again soon.